This letter, dated June 15, 1922, was sent from the Lake Mohonk Mountain House to Mr. and Mrs. Morris Feldberg in response to their prior inquiry of summer employment. The Lake Mohonk Mountain House was built in one of the most beautiful locations of the Catskill Mountains in New York State between 1869 and 1910 by the twin Smiley brothers, who were Quakers. It quickly became a prime vacation destination whose visitors included presidents, industrialists, and religious leaders of many faiths. It hosted annual conferences devoted to improving the living standards of Native Americans, and according to the National Trust for Historic Preservation, quote, "Through its buildings and roads, its land and its spirit, Mohonk exemplifies America's history and culture." Indeed. On June 14, 1922, Mr. and Mrs. Morris Feldberg, about whom nothing is known except that they were Jewish, sent their letter seeking employment. They received this as a reply. "We are in receipt of your letter of June 14th to Mr. DeWitt and wish to state that we do not employ people of your race. Trusting that our delay in answering you has not caused you too much inconvenience, I am very truly yours, J.W. Smith, for Daniel Smiley, proprietor." The prompt reply in the name of the descendant of the Quaker founders was more than an expression of the pervasive anti-Semitism of the time. The phrase "people of your race" aligns the June 15 letter decisively with the most murderous set of ideas of the modern world. Not religion, not social class, or political ideology, but the quack genetics of race science. Adolf Hitler wrote in Mein Kampf, 1925, that his eyes were opened to the two greatest perils of the German race, Judaism and Marxism. Hitler's eyes were, in fact, opened by, at least in part, by a book, which he called his Bible, The Passing of the Great Race, published in 1916 by the American lawyer and zoologist Madison Grant. Grant wrote that he wished to, quote, "rouse his fellow Americans to the overwhelming importance of race and to the folly of the melting pot theory. If the nation did not listen, he warned, we must write Finis Americae." Among the so-called mongrel races he most stigmatized was the, quote, "Polish Jew, whose dwarf stature, peculiar mentality, and ruthless concentration on self-interest are being engrafted upon the stock of the nation." In June 1922, Mohonk was simply doing its part to save America. Widely admired, Grant founded the Bronx Zoo. He is credited with saving the American bison from extinction and almost single-handedly was responsible for the 1924 American Immigration Act that essentially closed our borders and prepared the way toward the planned extinction of the Jewish people of Europe.